All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our bi-weekly Team Passion call. Hello. It's Thursday. What's today? September 7th. Super excited about tonight's topic. So, as coaches, one of the most powerful forms of working this business and being successful in this business is making sure we're sharing our story. It's crucial in people joining you and coming to you, and you have to do it in your invites and stuff too, but sharing your story on social media, sharing your story when people ask you what do you do. We're going to just kind of go over some things, and I'm going to give you, I did post in the team page under the Zoom call a Bo Eason video that came in my email literally like an hour and a half ago. I'm like, well, that's freaky. And it gave an outline of exactly what your story should kind of look like. It gave like some bullet points, which was what I was going to say anyway, because I've learned how to tell my story from watching Bo Eason. So Bo Eason so that's your first tip tonight. Bo Eason is an amazing storyteller. My first interaction with him, first way seeing him was at one of Chalene Johnson's events, and I was so captivated by him. Bo Eason is an ex-NFL player, and he didn't know what he was going to do in life, after the NFL, and he got injured, and so his career was cut short. And he ended up setting a goal to be the best storyteller, like ever. And he has a one-man show called, oh my gosh, Monica, what is it? It's like, I'm drawing a blank. Does anyone know what's Bo Eason's one-man show? Oh my gosh. Well, we can probably Google it. Oh my gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank. Anyway, so Google it. But I'm gonna Google it because it's driving me crazy. Bo Eason. One-man show. It was on Runt of the Litter. Okay, phew. Okay, sorry, that's painful when you can't remember things, huh? Runt of the Litter. So he talks about he tells stories about his whole football career and how he got there, and they're amazing. And you don't know where the stories are gonna lead. But Brendon Burchard has him as one of his co-speakers at World's Greatest Speaker Training. So I went to World's Greatest Speaker Training a couple years ago. It was like one of the best trainings I had ever been to. So going to Chalene Johnson's events, I was exposed to Bo Eason, Brendon Burchard, amazing people. And that's when I just kind of fell in love with that whole group of people. Bo and Brendon are Chalene's tribe for sure. And so it just made sense that because I loved Chalene, that I would love them as well. So there's a great training. Bo, you want to watch everything that Bo has out there. He has some just really good stories that just captivate you, and I can hear them over and over and over again. So make sure that you look him up and kind of study. He has a course that you can purchase and go and do and stuff. But just watching his YouTube videos and watching Runt of the Litter is pretty powerful. So I highly suggest that. So one of the things that he talks a lot about, and this was something I struggled at World's Greatest Speaker Training, is which story to tell, right? So we end up not telling our story because we don't know which story to tell. Don't stress about which story to tell, because you'll know what story to tell by telling pieces of your story. One will just click out there. So everyone now knows me as the successful coach who couldn't put gas in her gas tank when she first started this business. I shared it on a Super Saturday video. I shared it on a National Wake Up Call. I share it on my social media. And so that's the story I share as much as I can. because it's the one that gets the most traction. So it's the same thing that we say when you're sharing on social media and you want to go back and you want to assess what is getting the most play. Like, that's what's going to happen when you consistently start sharing pieces of your story. One of the most powerful pieces or stories is it starts with like an age of yours, like when I was 9 years old, and you start to tell a story. When I was 12 years old, when I was 20 years old, whatever it is, there's an age that something happened to you that was a pivotal moment in your life. Something changed for you. I have quite a few of those, but one of the ones that leads into my financial success with Beachbody, starts with, I don't really remember my age, but it was, I say about 12 years ago. I start my story with 7 years ago regarding Beachbody, but 12 years ago was when I hit a point in my life financially that I lost it. I ended up walking into a therapist's office. I couldn't handle life. I had just had a miscarriage. We were helping take care of Mark's sister who was on drugs. Life was insane. And that was a pivotal moment in my life where I said, enough is enough. I'm going to start taking care of me instead of worrying about everybody else. So telling pieces of your story in that sense, people are going to be able to relate to you. And they're going to go, oh my gosh, same thing happened to me. How many women, when you end up sharing your story of a possible miscarriage or losing a child, the comments that you get, I had a miscarriage too, I had a miscarriage. It's such a common thing that we just don't really talk about a lot as women. But it's so common. So, just sharing, the woman in the Bo Eason video said, the best pieces of a story is when you do share a tragedy or a challenge or a struggle. That's gonna be the most compelling story. A lot of the times we shy away from sharing such a big event of a story because it may hurt people in our family as well. So, I remember sharing pieces of my story that had to do with my mom and my stepdad, and I had to talk to my mom first. I was like, hey, I'm going to share this piece of my story on social media because it made me who I am today. This is what I'm going to say. Is that okay? And she was like, yeah, it sucks, but it's who you are today. So if that's what you're afraid of, but you want to get it out there because it's therapeutic to do it, then, maybe talk to a family member or just block that family member from seeing it, however you want to do it. But again, you don't have to share your most darkest moments. I'm not saying that in order for you to be a successful Beachbody coach, you have to share the most tragic moment in your life that you've never shared with anyone ever. I'm not saying that. But I'm sharing more of the struggles will help people relate to you more. And sharing what we want to see in that story is sharing the struggles, but then sharing the happy ending or sharing what life is like now. So anytime I tell people to share your Beachbody story, and we have 2 women that are going to share their stories tonight on here, is what was life like before Beachbody? How did you find Beachbody? What is life like now with Beachbody? And what does the future look like with Beachbody? So what was life like before Beachbody? How did you find Beachbody? What is life like now? And what does the future hold? And now, because we've talked about curiosity marketing so much, you don't have to use the words Beachbody. I'm just saying that for you writing your script and writing a piece of your story, that will be, and this will be like a business post, okay? That those 4 elements will be in there, and then you'll invite at the end of the business post, okay? So, what was life like before? How did you find it? What life like now? What does the future hold? And just kind of share that in a sequence of stories, or in a sequence of a story but you don't have to say the word Beachbody. You know what I mean? So if you want to hear more about what I'm doing and how this changed my life, message me or whatever. But that's going to be like a business post. Now the rest of the stuff is going to be just pieces of stories. Like we last year, I think it was, I did a call on stories, telling your story. And after the call, I was like, everyone go share a story about a pet you had as a child. And I shared about my, I think I shared about the pig that my mother and stepfather felt the need to raise in our home. His name was Zippel. He hated me with a passion and tried to attack me every time I had to jump on the couch. Like, it was cuckoo. Like, we had a legit pig living in our home. And then it got ginormous, and they kicked it outside, and then it went to the house. But, like, really, like, we had a pet pig. Like, so just sharing funny stories, like we say on social media, that's going to get a ton of engagement. And people are going to, you could even say, oh my gosh, tell me what you had as a kid for a pet and what was it like. I had a guinea pig named Snowball too, like whatever. So just little pieces of your story, leaking them out, but being fun, but being vulnerable, and then being thoughtful in sharing your story regarding Beachbody or regarding something that is going to want people to be in your life because you overcame it and they see how positive and amazing you are, is going to be huge too. And you can always start the post with, this is really hard for me to share, but I want to help other people. Like Monica, she's disappeared, but she, there she is, but she shared a story of a boyfriend that she had that was abusive to her. And she shared that, I think, about a year and a half ago. And she had never shared that before. And she got private messages from a ton of people just being like, oh my God, thank you so much for sharing. The same thing happened to me. And, she just, no business really ever came out of it, but genuinely she wanted to share her story to help other women. And she did, so whatever that may, look like for you. It doesn't always have to lead to Beachbody. So just get used to sharing pieces of your story. But the Beachbody business story are going to have those 4 elements. And people want to hear about the tough times. They do. They want to hear that you struggled so that they can relate. And then they want to hear the happy ending. All right. So I know we have 2 amazing ladies that are going to share their story with us. I don't know, Cindy, do you need to go first? Do you think do you have threats of storms, or are you good?
Yeah, we're good. The storm isn't close yet. It seems to be veering off a little bit, so I'm good.
Okay. So we have Cindy LaBelle, who's out in Oregon where all those fires are, but now they're having flash flood storms, which will help, but crazy.
Yes.
And then Kelly Penny is going to share her story, and she's in one of the Carolinas, so hopefully Irma is going to miss you. But just so much crazy stuff going on with the weather and all this craziness. So whoever wants to go first, it's totally up to you guys, but these ladies have really good stories, and I'm excited for them to just kind of share their Beachbody stories in 10 minutes or less. So yeah, I don't know, Cindy, if you want to go, you're unmuted.
I'll
go ahead. Okay,
so for those that don't know me, my name is Cindy LaBelle. I live in Oregon. Excuse my voice, the smoke here is so bad. I will be clearing my throat a lot. Like, we're all sick from our air level has been in the hazardous level for like a week. So like less than 300 yards visibility at times. So excuse that part. So my story starts like 5 years ago. And we all know what going through the motions feels like. And that's pretty much, we've been there, and that's where I found myself. I was working full time. I loved my job, but I had spent the last 5 years, for the previous 5 years, helping my husband attain his dream job. And he had come home one day and told me, he was a warehouse manager at a marble and tile store. And he came home one day and said, I want to be a cop. And like, my mind, I'm thinking that's what your 7-year-old tells you, not what your husband tells you when he comes home from work one day. But let's chat this out and see what we're talking about here. And I realized that he had met this guy. We'd become friends with this couple, and this guy was all about chasing his dreams. And he had, was working for a TV station as a news anchor, and just up and decided to change. And it gave my husband the idea that you can just chase your dreams. You don't have to do what you've been dropped in. And he hated his job. I knew that before he ever came home. He hated his job. And after talking to him, I realized, this is something I need to support him in. And if he wants to be a policeman, we'll be a policeman. Let's see what we have to do. I did not know it was going to take 5 years for him to figure it out. I had one stipulation, and that was that we do not leave our area. We stay where we live. I love this area when we're not burning up, but I wanted to stay here. So that limited where he could apply, which is one reason it took him so long. But he went back to school. He joined the military. He got deployed to Iraq. He came home. He finished his college degree. And he finally, 5 years later, got his dream job. And I was incredibly proud of him. And in my mind, I was thinking, we can breathe. Life is going to be perfect now. He has his dream job. I love my job. And we're happy. And then, like I said, I found myself one day, I'm just going through the motions. And I thought, why am I not happy? Like, I go to work, I come home, I pick up kids, I take them to their sports, I bring them home, we go to bed, we do it again the next day. And I realized that 2 things. One, I was not getting to see my husband anymore because he had attained this dream job that took him out of our house so much more than he was when he had a normal 9-to-5. And the second thing was I had just spent 5 years watching my husband chase his dream and achieve it. And while I loved my job, it wasn't my dream for sure. And so I was finding myself longing for that fulfillment that he had just achieved. So I didn't know what to do, though. I had no idea what my dream job was. I'd never given myself enough time to really think about it. So I just went through the motions every single day. And we would get to pass each other as we were coming and going from our jobs. And I would get to spend, I would say, if I was lucky, 5 hours a week with my husband during the daytime when we were both awake. And it sucked a lot. So, but he was happy. He loved his job. So I was supportive. And then at the same time this was going on, I was finding myself run down, tired. I had taken up running to try to lose weight and ran myself into the ground, literally, to the point where I had lost as much weight as you can lose doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. My body had plateaued out, and I had openly shared that information on Facebook for accountability from friends. And a girl who I used to coach as a cheerleader reached out to me and said, I have got just the thing that you need. And I politely told her, no, thank you. And continued to whine on Facebook. And again, she reached out a few weeks later and she said, I've got just the thing for you. And I politely told her, no, thank you. And this went on for weeks, probably 5 or 6 weeks at least. And in all honesty, I realized I knew her really well, and I knew she wasn't going to give up. So I thought, okay, the worst case scenario, my husband will do these workouts because he's wanting to get more fit for his police job, and I'll give him my shakes, and she'll leave me alone. So, and my husband was really encouraging me to try it with him. So I thought, it can't hurt. So I jumped, I ordered it, I got it. I ordered T25. It was right when T25 had come out. And that was a selling point for me because it was 25-minute workouts. And with my going through the motions job at the time, that's about all I had to commit. So begrudgingly, and like I said, I was in a very sad point in this my life because I just didn't feel fulfilled and I didn't know what I needed. And I was just really feeling sorry for myself. So I started it. And within a week, I was no longer feeling sorry for myself. I felt amazing. I had energy. I very begrudgingly tried Shakeology for a week because that's what I told myself I would do, and shockingly fell in love with it. I had my migraines were going away. I remember sitting at my desk at work one day it was like day 4 or 5. And it was 4:30 in the afternoon. So I was getting ready to finish my day. And it had hit me like I had not taken any medication all day, which was mind blowing. Like I would usually be on my 3rd or 4th dose by that late in the afternoon because the migraines were just constant. And the only change was starting a program and drinking Shakeology. So it was one of those things. I was winding down to my end of my 3-4 weeks of Shakeology that I had noticed my husband was sneaking it. And by this point, I was getting pretty protective of it, and I wasn't willing to share it anymore. And I was sad because I thought I'm going to have to, I can't order it again. I can't afford it. And it's sad. And my husband took me aside and he's like, no, you need to keep this. You are a different person than you were 3 weeks ago. Whatever we need to do, we'll make it happen. So I went ahead and let my next bag auto ship. And that is when Randy had messaged me and she said, do you mind? We have this team page that we add coaches who want to work the business to. Would you mind if I added you to that? And I said, you can add me if it makes you feel good. I'm not really interested in it. I'm looking for something different and bigger and better, but go ahead. So she added it to me. And the women, particularly, I gravitated to them more. Were just so amazing. Like, they were business people. And I have a background in business, and this was legit. Like, if this wasn't an MLM pyramid scheme that I had heard about all my entire life, these were people running legit businesses helping other people. And it started planting that little seed in my head. And then I remember one day, and I think the best ideas or epiphanies come to you when you're in the shower. And I was in the shower getting ready for work in the morning, and I literally had this feeling come over me that almost knocked me down. That was just, you have to give this a try. And I was resistant because I knew people were going to laugh at me, and I knew people were going to make fun of me, and I knew it wasn't going to be easy. And so I tried to ignore it. And honestly, the first person I thought that was going to really have an issue with it was my husband, because we already weren't seeing very much of each other. We were already really busy. I took on so much more responsibility of the household day-to-day stuff because he's not home. He is not going to like the idea that I'm starting a business. And I sat him down that night and I told him, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And he was like, 1,000,000% I agree with you. Absolutely. I've been having the same feelings. You absolutely need to do this. And so I did. That day I jumped in, all in, full force. And I have not regretted it for a single day. It is my life. I was able to quit my job in about 6 to 8 months. I can't remember exactly, much quicker than I had planned. I get to spend 20, 30 hours a week at least with my husband now. I get all my mornings with him. I get my afternoons with him until he goes to work. I pick my kids up from school. Aside from the financial benefit of starting this business, the personal benefit, the fulfillment benefit, everything has been beyond my wildest dreams. And some things I've noticed since I've been doing it is this is my 4th year. In fact, this month is my 4-year anniversary. And when I'm all in on this business and I'm really working it, the business really works for me. And when I back off and I don't give it the attention that it needs, then the business backs off and it doesn't get the attention that it needs. So it is exactly what you make out of it. It's not hard, but it's work. You have to work it every single day. And the future for me is, that's one of the things I love about this business. It's exactly what I want it to be. So I have there's no chance ever that I will walk away from this business. This is something that I'm going to do every single day. On the weeks that are the hardest for me, I always remind myself I would do this for free. The messages I get from my challengers, and that's one of the things I've noticed with this business too, is even on my hardest weeks, that's when I get that challenger that reaches out to me that you don't even think is paying attention to you, who drops that little seed of, you've changed my life in some way, you've touched me in some way, and then you realize why you're doing this. It's not for a paycheck. It's not for, the kudos that you get. It's to change lives. So that's my story.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so when Cindy first started that September 4 years ago, I reached out to her pretty quickly because I saw numbers coming up on the board, Success Club 18, 20, 22. I was like, who the heck is this chick? And so when I see numbers like that in the downline, I go and find those people and, said, is there anything I can do? This is who I am. What can I do to help you? And we've kind of been working together ever since then.
Yeah.
So I thank you for sharing that story. And Cindy has earned lots of trips and done amazing things in this business. And I have for sure seen what she is capable of. So I am excited for the rest of this year and more of next year to see what happens. So awesome! Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and we now have Kelly. Penny, I love Kelly's story. Every time she shares it in the business opportunity page, I love the piece of it because, hi Kurt, because, she has that money objection. If there was anybody that, had a money objection to start this business, it's Kelly. So I will let her share her amazing story. So thank you, Kelly.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So my story is a little bit different. I was not trying the product at all. I basically thought that Shakeology was an upgraded version, more expensive version of Slim Fast. That was my impression of it. And home workouts, they didn't work. That was, they didn't work. I listened to every trainer I'd ever talked to at the gym. He told me they're just not going to work, right? So my cousin is my upline coach. And, when you're a stubborn woman, probably the best thing that can happen to you is to run into another stubborn woman. And she kept messaging me. She kept talking to me about it. And I was like, this girl's crazy. Like, why does she keep messaging me? I was like, how did someone so smart get stuck in a pyramid scheme? Basically was what my opinion was. And then one day we got an email that our uncle, they were throwing him a surprise 80th birthday party. And I live in North Carolina and most of my family's in Michigan. So we were going up to Michigan for his party, and my brother was out of town, and normally I stay with him, so I wound up staying with Holly. And, what better way to get someone who's really stubborn than, trap them in your house and talk to them for a while, right? So in talking with Holly, I realized I had it in my mind that Shakeology was just for weight loss, and part of the issue I was having is like how Holly didn't really need to lose weight and never did. So I was kind of like, how could she be using a weight loss product and why is she selling it and all this other stuff? And then in talking with her, her story was that she was really sick all the time and was always taking all these supplements, like literally by the handful. And then she started doing some research and she got really lucky. She bought off the website and wound up with Nicole as her coach. And in fact, Nicole, she told me she was actually belligerent when you asked her to be a coach. And I laughed because that's so Holly to just go, no, what are you thinking? So in talking with her, though, she kind of got me on the nutrition part of it. I was already working out. I wasn't eating right or anything like that. But my son has special needs, and he was diagnosed with a very rare disorder 14 years ago. He's almost 15 now. And I got lucky. Most parents whose children have the disorder aren't diagnosed until they're like 4 or 5 and older. He got a diagnosis 5 days before his first birthday. And that led me on the path of learning about nutrition and brain development. So even though I wasn't following what I should be eating, when she started talking to me about nutrition, that caught my attention because I was already kind of knowledgeable about it anyway. And so then when I'm actually reading what's in it, I'm like, well, shit, I'm putting all that in my shake anyway. I'm buying the $15 version of Walmart's, right? So I needed something, though, for me that was going to allow me to be home more often. And I needed to be bringing in some money. So because my son has special needs, I quite often have like 2 or 3 appointments a week with him. It's kind of a joke between him and I. When we don't have an appointment, we actually celebrate that. And so I needed something that was going to be really flexible, but I also have, my husband is in construction. And even in North Carolina in the winter months, those hours just go away. So our primary breadwinner loses his hours, right? So we didn't have money. We were going to food banks. We were borrowing money from family. And that's really hard for both of us because we're both pretty independent. And so we had all that going on. So I needed something that was going to allow me to stay at home, something that was going to allow me to bring in some money, something that wasn't going to take a lot of my time, because my son takes a tremendous amount of my time. He's a very sweet kid, but he's very high maintenance. And so I just kind of jumped. I mean, Holly didn't even know I was going to do it. I mean, we talked about it, and I said, yeah, I'd sign up in a couple of weeks. And then money's always an issue. I really get it when people come to me and say, look, I just don't have the funds. So what I wound up doing was I just signed up one night. I went to her website, signed up. She said she woke up the next morning and got this email that a new coach had signed up. And she looked at it and she's like, what the fuck? Pardon my French, but that's exactly what she said she saw when she saw that. And so for me, where it's made the difference is we didn't have to go to the food bank this year. We didn't have to borrow any money. My son needed a wheelchair ramp built. He's only going to temporarily be in the wheelchair, but still, I couldn't get him out of the house if there was an emergency without some kind of a ramp. And even just getting him out for regular things like going to school was physically very difficult. And so we were able to do that partially because my husband has been able to put money away, because we're not having to use every single piece of the paycheck to pay every bill, worry about food, that kind of stuff. So for me, that's been probably the biggest difference, is that I can still be at home. I still do work a part-time job, but it's more out of choice because I really like the job itself. Although my eventual goal, I've gone from 3 days down to 2. My eventual goal is like next year not to have to do it. But it's just kind of comforting, I guess, to know that we can start doing some of that stuff. Like, we didn't have to freak out when we needed a wheelchair ramp. We didn't have to figure out how we're going to do this. I need a new car. We decided we're going to let my car run into the ground because I'm not high maintenance when it comes to cars. I really, a good used car is fine with me. So we're like, well, let's just run your car into the ground and we'll just be putting money away so that when I do need the car and, we have the money, we don't have to worry about getting a loan for it. We'll just be able to pay for it. And that's just stuff that we didn't really know before. The personal development has changed me completely. I was thinking about this today. I was listening to one of the Team Passion Zoom calls, and Nicole was talking about the roadblocks to success, because I've been sitting here thinking to myself the last month or so, why is it I'm still at Emerald when I really care about this business? Why am I not recruiting coaches? When I do, they don't really want to work the business, or they say they do and they don't. And we all, we've all been there. And something about one of the comments about the roadblock made me realize that I kind of had an epiphany while I was walking my dogs, that I don't have a fear of failure. I have a fear of success. And that for me, a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to figure that out, because I wouldn't have been listening to the personal development, right? So for me, that was a really big aha moment. And to realize where that came from was wow, now I can move beyond that and start getting going what I really want to do. I don't ever see me leaving this business at all. It has gotten my son off of some of his medications. Kids with this disorder have a lot of GI issues, and then they have certain meds that they have to take for behavioral stuff, and all of that contributes to the GI issues, right? So to be able to take him off those GI meds because he's on Shakeology has just been amazing to me. And he loves his Shakeology. We're driving home today from his ball field, because I coach baseball for special needs kids. And we're coming home from there, and he's like, oh, I want my Shakeology. I want my strawberry Shakeology, which a month ago, he wouldn't touch the strawberry, okay? But now he's like, oh, I want the strawberry, and we have mixed berries. Can you put that in there? And I'm like, that's so cool, because that's probably the only thing that's healthy for him that he doesn't fight me on. So, me leaving it's just never going to happen. Right now, we're at least paying for the shakes plus some extra. And I go through 2 bags a month because of him being on it too. But, whatever. I will do whatever I have to keep him on it. So for me, that's probably been one of the biggest differences. Or I noticed the other day that something that happened that normally would have irritated me for days if I didn't have a chance to express to the person I was irritated. Literally within 5 minutes, I was like, oh, just, get over it. It's their problem, whatever, keep moving. That's from the personal development. And I think that's the part that we all kind of forget, because the workouts are easy. It's easy to drink your shake, right? but the personal development is what's going to save your ass every time, in my opinion, because you're just going to grow as a person. So I don't know really what else to say. I don't know what the future holds. What I do know is I will not leave the business. I plan to be a 20-star diamond and leading my own team of thousands and making things better for my family. I have a goal for a trust fund for my son so that finances aren't going to dictate what's going to happen for him, or that when I'm gone, because he doesn't have a sibling to help him, I want to make sure that whoever takes care of him, whichever one of my nephews steps up to do that, won't be financially burdened by it. You know, I want a better house, but you know, those are like the main goal is to actually be able to build that trust fund for Daniel. So that's the main reason why I stay.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. For you guys who don't follow Kelly, I'm going to recommend you click that follow button on her. She posts a video of herself working out every day. I look forward to it. You know, she takes my constructive criticism with stuff too. Like, you know, she's like, hey, what should I be doing here? I'm like, hey, you know, just make sure when you're doing your videos, you maybe get a little more light going in. And then on the some days that she can't get the light right, she explains it in her post. And like, I love that. I'm like, she totally knows I'm watching, you know? And I do, I love that piece. I love, I enjoy, like, Daniel friended me, and I enjoy his little messages that he sends, and you know, like, I just have so enjoyed getting to know you guys and getting to know your life, and I love your story, and I thank you for always stepping up and volunteering whenever I ask for stuff like this. I know it's super out of your comfort zone, and I totally appreciate it. And that is what the personal development has done for you to just say, all right, I'll do it. I mean, I'm scared, but I'll do it.
Well, and you know, honestly, Nicole, if you weren't a leader that I could follow, I wouldn't follow. I'm like that. I'll follow the leader if they make sense. If they don't make sense, I'm done. I'm out. I'm going to take charge, or I'm just going to go do whatever else, because if the leader doesn't make sense, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, totally. I think, you know, I did a little tough love video in our Team Passion All Access Shift group tonight, and I think that you know, what you just said, you know, I said in it, I don't train or teach or say things just to say it. I say it because I've gone through the same thing, or I am going through the same thing. Like, I don't, you know, and that's, you know, when I'm teaching you guys to get to diamond and star diamond and whatever that is, everything that I teach you and all of the assignments that I give you is exactly what I've done. Like, I'm never going to ask you to do something that I've never done. I promise that. And so, yeah, so thank you for saying that, because I do appreciate that, because, you know, I do try to be that leader. I'm just that person that is just going to be real with you. But I'm also going to, you know, share with you what I have done before, what I haven't. And I love that you said you have that fear of success, because I really think that stops a ton of people from becoming a diamond, because then they know star diamond is next, and then they start thinking in their head that they have to be me, or they have to be someone like me, or they have to be like, oh my gosh, I gotta speak here, I gotta go do that. No, you don't. Like, until you're ready, like, I didn't move away from my Coach Keith's page till I was on the verge of 5-star. And I try to let that sink in for you guys, because I think some of the leaders in this company, and I think this came down from corporate, have shared that you have one coach on your team, you should have your own team page. I don't agree with that, like, at all. Who wants that kind of energy of trying to get one coach to do something and talk to you every day? Like, like, that would be like you and one challenger. Like, what's the difference between you and your challenge group with one person versus our Team Passion All Access group with 420 people, right? Like, the energy, it's the energy that you need to feel and feed off of. So I like that you said that, because it gives me an opportunity to tell you guys while I have people here. You don't have to leave anything that I'm doing or any of the systems that I'm doing until you're ready. And I don't even care if that's 10-star. Like, you know, I want you to lead, but this is how I want you to lead. I want you to say, hey, Nicole, I saw that you're doing a Zoom call on how to share your story. Would you like me to share your story? Or, hey, so that business webinar that you're doing, can I go in there and maybe give a 5-minute talk on what it takes to do good in personal development or something. Like, that's showing me that you're being a leader by you volunteering to speak in all of our, it's not mine, our system pages. Like, that's who I look for, and that's who I will reach out to and ask for help. I mean, don't think that you all being here live doesn't go unnoticed. I know who gets on these calls with me live. I know who takes the time. I know who comments. I know who volunteers in every single group. Like, I know. And so yeah, please just keep that up and know that, after diamond is star diamond. So what does that mean for me? It means that you're going to keep doing what you're doing, but you're even more awesome because you found amazing people that also are building to diamond. Like, that's all it means. Like, there's going to be no difference when you get to those leadership roles at all. So hopefully this call was helpful for you guys. What I would love for you to do, whether you're listening to this call live or you're listening to the recording, I would love for you to just go and share a piece of just to get a piece of your story out there. If you're not used to sharing your story, it doesn't even have to be a Beachbody story, but go share a story on social media, and then post in Team Passion when you do, so that we can all go and check it out and comment and give you all sorts of love. And I want you to do that numerous times, like, not just right now, one and done. Like, if you share your Beachbody story, tell us in Team Passion so we can go give it some love. Like, we'll end up, we have to be careful of that. We don't want to, like, 100 of us comment. That'll look staged. So, we'll just watch the comments. But yeah, just go and have some fun with a post. Like I said, a childhood pet, whatever. You're like, when I spoke for corporate a couple weeks ago, and they asked, I think you brought it up, Kelly, too, that when they asked me, like, my funniest story or something, I talked about being sprayed by a skunk. Like, I don't even know where that came from. But, like, that's the stuff you want to share on social media. Like, and the same thing happened to poor Sammy. The dog got sprayed by a skunk, and our entire house smelled like a skunk, and she had to get sent home from school because she smelled like a skunk. And that happened to me when I was in, like, 4th grade, and happened to her when she was in 4th grade. Oh my God, it did. Or 5th. I don't know. No, 4th, I think. 3rd? I don't know. But anyway, it was in elementary school. We both got our apartments or our animals got sprayed by skunks, and we smelled like skunks. But yeah, so just go share something tonight. Have fun with it. Keep sharing pieces of your story and let us know in Team Passion so we can give you some love. But when you do share your story about Beachbody, keep it very short. Especially if you do it on video, it's got to be in 3 minutes or less. So you got to get good with that. This is what life's like before. This is how I found it. This is what life's like now. This is what the future holds. You can do that in 3 minutes or less. And the great way to practice that is in our business opportunity webinar, for you to just do that on video, and 2 minutes and 50 seconds is perfect. So shoot for that, and you'll get better each time. I know some people go to upload their video and they're like, it's 5 minutes. Can I still do it? And sometimes I want to say no, but I don't. I say yes, but next time I need it to be 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So get out there, share your stories, have fun. Thank you guys for joining me, and we will talk to you all soon. Thank you.